Welcome to Step Into the Pivot. We're your hosts. I'm Theresa Conti.
And I'm Ivana. We talk with people just like you. We have honest conversations about current issues that women and men face and how we pivot to address them in our lives.
This podcast is your companion as you step into a workout or take some time for yourself. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Step Into the Pivot. I'm Theresa Conti.
And I'm Ivana Polonio, and hello to you, Theresa. Today is our episode where, we take the conversation about our stories and our background and why we're here, why we're doing this a little further. We've chatted about it in the past, but now I'm really interested in hearing more about you, who you really are. What does Step Into the Pivot mean to you? And really, get to know you even better. I feel like after these, 20 plus minutes, I'm I'm in for some gems, for some lessons. So I really want to dig into that.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited as well to hear your story and to tell everybody our stories and to really share, right? Because that's what this is all about for all of us. So I'll go ahead and get started if that's okay. And for those of you who know me, I know I have Disneyland in my background. There's a story there, but we'll talk about that on a different episode. I'm going to kind of talk about some other things today. But so again, I'm Theresa Conti. I have been in the financial services industry basically since I graduated from college, more from the TPA and record keeping side. So very compliance oriented for those of you who are in this business. So often very technical. So I really, I think my career started in a lot of different ways. I had quite a few good mentors early on, and I at some point will probably talk to some people about mentorship because I think that's such an important thing. But I think my career really kind of got started for myself. I had always had this dream that I wanted to own my own business. And in 1998, I started Sunwise Pensions, which was a TPA and record keeper. I actually owned that firm until last year in mid 2023. I actually successfully sold it, which is an amazing accomplishment. So I'm very proud of that. And I think sometimes women hold themselves back. So that to me is such a great thing. I think the thing that a lot of people probably don't know about me, though, is when we talk about who I am. I have been with my husband for 41 years, which is, since I'm only 29, I don't know how that could be 41 years. But so I've been with him for 41 years, and we've actually been married for 37 of those years. So I think people are sometimes like, wow, that's a long time. And it is. And I think the biggest thing, though, that people maybe don't know is that in 2014, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And that was really a shift for me. That was really, I think, a lot of my pivot, as we talk about Step Into the Pivot, came in my life in many, many ways. It made me take a step back and think about who I was and what I wanted to do and what else I wanted to accomplish, because it's a different mindset, because you never think you're going to hear that word that you have cancer. But Eva and I are going to talk to some other women who've experienced very similar things as we go on. But that was really a really big piece of my puzzle. So that is really probably part of what sent me down the path of selling my business. That probably made me change some of my thoughts and things that I wanted to do in life. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But for now, I want to really continue to serve in the financial services industry, do some speaking engagements, work with maybe some women who may need help, maybe other small business owners, maybe other younger women who want to continue to grow their career, and lots of other things. So I think there's quite a few things in my bio that we will also have guests that really talk about. So Ivana, why don't you give us the overview of your bio as well?
Yeah, sure. So maybe one of the first things I want to say is I often get this question of how do you pronounce your first name? So my first name is from Croatia. I was born and raised in former Yugoslavia, then transformed into Croatia, small country for a big holiday, as we sometimes hear it represented here in the United States. And the name is pronounced Ivana, like even a kid can say it, or evening, which can be it is probably my favorite part of the day, time of the day, the like twilight fusion of is it day, is it night? It's something in between. And that is, sort of a state that I really relate to because when I look at my bio, I look at my resume, there's been a lot of art and science and navigation of a variety of different contexts and environments and I am, getting more and more comfortable fusing that together, kind of like in those twilight, dusk, sunset colors. So I am an anthropologist by training. I have experience with childhood anthropology, social anthropology in general. Also, a lot of training in narratives and discourse analysis, and that really prepared me, interestingly enough, for the career in financial services, which happened later in life. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about my immigration timeline. Um, because I learned as an anthropologist to ask questions and to listen and notice, cultural differences and tendencies of humans to, organize and interpret life through stories. And that is something that, has been really valuable. My own life and childhood and growing up experiences are full of stories. Some of them didn't make any sense, and some of them, make sense now, didn't at the time. Some of them I'm still sifting through, and I'm doing that through a variety of um, how should I put it? Work modalities. Some of them I'm trained in because I found that having that experience of so knowing how to really hold yourself and be there with your own emotions, your mental um, turbulences, really knowing how to be accountable and self-responsible for your own state no matter what environment you're in, whether that's your personal life with your family or you're in a workplace setting. It really benefits everybody if we know how to take good care of ourselves. So all that to say that is that today I blend that PhD in anthropology with experience from 15 plus years in financial services industry, some nonprofit board experiences with inner bonding and bioenergetics facilitation training. And I founded Courageous Being Conscious Leadership Center. So very inspired by you, Theresa, because I'm in a different, journey there. I am starting this adventure that you can talk about from the other end. And really, it's so cool to see how we're both maybe in different stages, but so passionate about empowering people. And I say that that's about, uh, the invitation to humanize the world of business by emboldening women and men. And I say emboldening because I feel like, we are already powerful. We just oftentimes don't remember. So it's like emboldening people to really embody the magnificence. And I think sometimes, women in particular, you have a hard time standing in that poise in
Well,
confidence.
and I was going
So,
to say too, and sharing experiences, right? Like, even though what I share as my experience may not be exactly your same experience, but we can learn something from that or get something from that to grow to the next level. And I think that's one of the things that really connects us well is I think we both really feel that way, Ivana.
mhm, absolutely. So, now we're finding it easier to talk about it. And here we are, exercising our vocal cords. But, tell me, why did you keep quiet when you were first diagnosed with breast cancer?
Yeah, so when I was diagnosed in 2014 and I underwent surgery in early 2015, I really kept quiet about it. There was a very small number of people who knew. And I did that for a few reasons. Um, I was scared, right? But was scared at having cancer, but I was also scared about what could happen to me from a business standpoint. And that might sound crazy. And that was now, almost 10 years ago. But, were people going to, I was a business owner, a small business owner in a small community. And were people going to be like, oh, Theresa has cancer. She's going to die. So we can't bring her more business, right? I had to worry about my business. I had to worry about my staff. I had to worry about all those other things besides just myself. And that was a very conscious decision I made to keep quiet. I think I was also in a different position maybe than some other women who've had cancer or had a serious illness because I didn't have an employer that I had to tell, right? I was the employer, so I could look at it a little bit differently, but then I had that different experience where I had to worry about my business. So I truly kept it quiet for a very, very long time. Like I said, there were very few people who knew. Probably I could count them on two hands who knew what I was going through.
Yeah, I certainly had no idea. I now, now looking back, I have I have some memories of like, wow, we interacted. And there you were in that poise that I was talking about, in the calm inner confidence. And, wow, very humbling to think about,
Mhm.
what you were going through at the time when I had no idea. No idea. So would you handle it the same way today?
That's a very interesting question. I would hope to say that in today's world, I would not. I mean, 10 years isn't that long ago, but it is a long time ago. Like, there's a big difference, I would hope, between 2014 and 2024, right? That I would hope that I could be a lot more open with people about it and know that the prognosis is good, know that people who were caught early, which I was, have would understand that people do it. And I think people talk about it a lot more for whatever reason that is. Maybe I'm just hearing about it more because maybe now that people know my experience, they talk to me more about it. So, you know, I would like to say that if this was true today, I would have talked about it probably a lot more.
Yeah. Hmm. And it sounds like, in all this, you've already talked about, the decision to share your story. But now you're really, to me, it's like you're claiming it. You're really,
Yeah.
and in some ways, it's like you're releasing what my experience is. You're releasing the stress of it, but there is the claiming of the story and then the sharing of the story. Tell us a little bit more about that, like
Yeah.
the decision
Well, I
to
think you're
actually
totally
really
right.
fully talk
I
about
think
it.
you're totally right. I think finally, a couple years ago, I was like, you know what? I don't know why I'm not telling people. And especially now, I had been cancer free for 7-ish years, right? So
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And now it's been, over 9. So that's all good. But I think I consciously agree with you. I think I was starting to hear about other people having these experiences. And I thought, why am I not sharing it? People don't know I went through this. Maybe I can help them. Maybe my story will help them, make them know that it is not a death sentence, that it is something we can, with the proper care and the right doctors and all those kind of things, that we can definitely get through and definitely, have support because I had support but not a lot of support. Like I had my husband and he was amazing. But could I have had other support in my community, right? That could have helped me. So I think you're right. I think I released it in a lot of ways a few years ago. One is that I released it in that, okay, I'm 7 years cancer free. I'm good. Like I can breathe. I can, do that. And also, can I help others? Can I talk about this and help others with their story or with their um their concern about what they're going through.
So Now, what do you tell others when they learn your story? Or maybe I'm really curious about that moment when now they don't know what you're going to
Right.
share, but you are noticing there's an opening.
Yep. Yeah. And so the fact that I've been a lot more vocal, or the fact that I've had women come up to me and be like, hey, so I know you went through this. I'm also going through something. Can I talk to you? Absolutely. Happy to talk to them. Love to talk to them. Um, love to tell my story, figure out how I can help them, how I can support them. I'm not a doctor. I can't like help them that way, but I can help them with support, right? Follow up with them. I think that that just really makes a difference. And it makes me feel like that I am really providing such a great support to them, right? That they really need during this time. I think, and I've had several over the past year, one of which is for sure going to be on this podcast, and another one who I'm hoping we can get on this podcast. But they, those ladies as well, when they came to me, I think my biggest message is that everybody's journey is their own, no matter what you're going through. We can again provide our experience, we can provide support, we can provide all those other things, but you also have to have a trusted group of somebody who's there for you all the time, a doctor that you really trust to help you get the right treatment. um, Everybody's journey is really their own, and I can't say that enough. It's what I've really discovered. Every treatment pattern is different, every of those. But I really think that knowing that others have gone through, whether it's cancer, whether it's some other illness, whatever that is, just having a network of people who can help you provide support, do that, I think is what's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you were to summarize this, what would you say then? It's like the one thing to really remember. So this is, this is
Yeah.
it, your journey is your own and you're not alone? Is it some other
I
affirmation
think it's
basically?
I think it's two. I think it's everybody's journey is your own. So make sure you know, understand, and have the right journey for yourself, whatever that looks like. And that can look like a million different things, right? Because everybody's different. No two cases are the same. But I think the second thing is have that great support system. Have that. Know that others are there. Like I have friends undergoing it now, and I'll tell you that I just try to reach out to them like once a week and just be, I don't want to bother them because if they are undergoing treatment and had chemo today, like, can they get back to you? And I don't want them to feel that pressure, but being able to follow up with them and just saying, hey, I was thinking about you. Are you doing well? Is there anything you need? Any way I can help you? I think that is really, really so important. And that's something that we as a community can do. So sharing your story, even with somebody who hasn't had cancer or hasn't had a serious illness, I think they can still provide support to you just by being there to help you when you need it.
Yeah. I think that was such a great and important point. And all of our journeys can be different. We can have completely different experiences. So, my story doesn't include cancer. Personally, I do have, friends like yourself who have been impacted, family members also. But personally, my pivots are different. However, when we open up and go vulnerable and really talk about the depths of it, we're going to come to some universal themes and topics like helplessness,
For sure.
uncertainty, you
For
know,
sure.
loneliness in the diagnosis, and then opening up for support and for help.
Mhm.
So it goes I think what you're doing here, just, demoing that vulnerability here, being in your, with your real story and sharing it
Yeah.
already feels so, just I'm receiving some, I don't know, warmth in my heart. I know I use that word a lot with you, but I think it can help a lot because, sometimes it can be, it's chilly when you're in that fearfulness of like, what's
Yep.
going to happen next? I don't know what to do.
Yep. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Step Into the Pivot. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights from our conversation. Remember, life is a series of pivots, and it's in those moments of change that we truly grow.
If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay connected, make sure to check out our websites. You'll find additional resources, behind-the-scenes content, and more details about our incredible guests. We love hearing from listeners, so reach out with your thoughts, questions, or your own pivot stories.
To keep the conversation going, be sure to follow us on social media. We're on LinkedIn and Instagram, where we share updates, quotes, and engage with our amazing community.
If you haven't already, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback makes a difference, and it helps us bring you meaningful conversations. We're signing off, reminding you that every pivot is a step forward. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Step into the Pivot.